Child Protective Services maintains a 1-800 number, statewide intake, and there's also a website where allegations of child abuse or neglect are reported. We live in a society where reporting suspected child abuse is prominent and it's encouraged. For instance, doctors, nurses, school teachers, those are all what we refer to as mandatory reporters, and they have a legal obligation to report suspected child abuse or neglect, or risk losing their license. They could even be prosecuted criminally. So when we're talking about the professionals that your child is coming in contact with, understand how they are hardwired and they have been trained to report any reasonable cause that gives them concern about the child's safety or welfare. Once a call comes into the 1-800 number, the statewide intake, the case is going to be assigned to a Child Protective Services investigator. Child Protective Services does a little bit of a triage in these situations. It's called the flexible response system. Depending on the nature of the child abuse allegation, the workers or investigators will have different lengths of time in which to follow up on that investigation. And that can range anywhere from 24 hours from receiving a call for the most severe allegations, all the way out to 30 days for something that is not deemed quite as significant. Also, in many Child Protective Services cases, these investigations are joint investigations where law enforcement is also involved. So let's talk about the elements of a Child Protective Services investigation. What exactly is that caseworker going to do? The first thing that worker is going to do is make contact with the child and do a child risk assessment. And understand that worker, this happens all the time, right? That worker will go up to your child's school or daycare, and that worker has absolute right and power to contact and to talk to your child outside of your presence. In other situations, the worker may just come to the house, but they're going to want to lay eyes on the child, and if that child is verbal, they're going to want to have a conversation with that child. Next, the Child Protective Services worker is going to interview you, the people in your home, and also interview what we call collateral witnesses. Those may be neighbors, may be people at church, people at school, coaches. And so that CPS worker is trying to get a full picture of exactly what is going on in the situation. Next, following their completion of those interviews, they're probably going to come back to you and try to fact check some of the information that you provided. And at some point in the process, they're going to come up with a conclusion or a recommendation for further action. The point here for you to understand is that every CPS investigation, no matter how small, no matter how seemingly insignificant, no matter how petty, each of those investigations is going to follow the same protocol. That CPS worker has to check all of the boxes.